After 8 years of hiding, a black janitor's incredible secret as a fighter pilot was revealed. In a bustling suburb of Chicago, the night air hummed with the sound of students' laughter fading into memories. Away from the glamour of youth, Marcus, a humble black janitor, mopped the floors of Hillside High School. 8 years he had dedicated to maintaining a place filled with dreams and hopes. But few knew the truth that slept beneath his polished exterior, that he had once soared through the clouds as a decorated fighter pilot. A soul trapped in shadows. As he wiped down classroom desks, his mind drifted to Lena, his bright-eyed daughter. She often spoke of flying, her young heart filled with dreams of becoming a pilot like him. "Dad, you're my hero," she would exclaim, sparkles of admiration sparkling in her eyes. Yet here he was, standing unseen, a ghost of the man he used to be. But danger lurked in the shadows. Budget cuts threatened Lena's after-school program, a precious haven for her dreams. Marcus felt his chest tighten, anger swelling within. He remembered the faces of people like the school board president, a bully from his past, now a powerful figure who had belittled him. The world often demanded to know what he did now, not who he had been, drowning out the strength behind his history. As the town hall meeting approached, Marcus wrestled with the burden of silence gripping him. His heart raced as he contemplated revealing his secret. This wasn't just for him. It was for Lena and the community that hardly saw him but relied on his silent sacrifices. Would they finally acknowledge the man behind the mop? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The town hall buzzed with anticipation as Marcus reached the podium. He inhaled deeply, fighting against the whispers of disbelief swirling in the air. "I was a fighter pilot," he started, and the room stilled, eyes wide with unsurety. But just as his truth fell from his lips, an unexpected confrontation shattered the fragile silence. A heated argument erupted over merit versus background, exposing cracks in the community's tough exterior. Voices of all tones cried out, revealing unspoken fears and resentments they had hidden. In the storm, Marcus stood vulnerable, the truth weighing heavier than ever. Tears stung Lena's eyes as she watched her father falter, determined to stand by him. She began to realize that her father was a hero not just for his past, but for all the struggles they faced together, igniting a fire within her. As the chaos around them grew, Marcus felt the pull of his love for her. Could he truly reveal himself without losing everything precious? The room simmered with tension as the night crept on. With life hanging in the balance, Marcus found himself at a crossroads. The community was ready or not, but for one night, the weight of hidden truths would shift. Would they see him, not just as a janitor, but as the hero his daughter believed him to be? As the final moments ticked away, his heart thundered in anticipation. Would he step into the light, or fade back into the shadows, leaving dreams unfulfilled? Marcus felt the weight of every eye in the room. The chaos around him shifted from disbelief to a collective curiosity, a yearning for connection. "This isn't just about me," he shouted above the din, voice stronger now, trying to pierce through the tension. "It's about all of us. About the dreams we almost forget." Lena, standing at the edge of the crowd, took a breath. She stepped forward, her small frame trembling with determination. "Dad's not just a janitor. He flew planes. He's a hero." Her voice rang with the intensity of hope, louder than any scoff or jeer. The arguing voices slowly began to fade as eyes turned toward her. They saw not just a girl defending her father, but a daughter bound to a legacy. She was the embodiment of all the sacrifices, the hope navigating through stormy skies, seeking her own way to fly. The school board president, a man with a hardened exterior but a softening heart, adjusted his glasses and regarded Lena. "We get that everyone has dreams," he said, his voice commanding but wavering just a bit. "But what does it mean to this community?" "Everything," Lena explained, her courage rising like the sun at dawn. "My dad fought for his dreams. You can't just take stuff away from kids like me because you don't understand. He taught me to think beyond limits. We need to keep the program. It's a start. It's our sky." Tension hung heavy in the air, swirling with disbelief, pride, and something deeper, a longing for change. Marcus felt a surge of warmth as he watched Lena. His heart swelled, not just with love for her, but with hope for a future where their voices would matter. Silence filled the room. It seemed everyone was reevaluating their perspectives, searching faces for understanding. Suddenly, an older woman in the back spoke up. "I remember the day you left to serve. You returned a hero, not just for the country but for this community, too." Her voice cracked, haunted by personal pain. "What have we lost in not seeing you?" A ripple of consensus began to move through the crowd, a shared realization that Marcus was part of their history, intertwined with their collective future. As the conversation faded to whispers of support, Marcus stepped forward. His moment had arrived. "I know I've hidden for too long," he said slowly, letting each word hang in the air. "I was ashamed, but I see now that my past can inspire, not just me but all of you. Together, we can rise. We can lift one another." The room erupted into applause, a symphony of support that filled the echoes of uncertainty that had settled only moments prior. Lena jumped into her father's arms, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. "You did it, Dad. You're finally free." But just as the atmosphere seemed to solidify into something tangible, a loud crash resonated from the entrance. Eyes turned swiftly in that direction. A man stormed in, wild-eyed and furious. "You think this will change anything? You're just a janitor. You'll never belong here." Marcus felt the walls close in as the cheers faltered. A chill washed over him. This confrontation was not just about his past, it was a threat that could unravel everything they had just built. Would they still stand by him in the face of this ugly truth? He locked eyes with Lena, whose courage now seemed to invigorate him. The battle within him raged on. Would he let this man's bitterness drown him back into silence? Or would he stand firm, the pilot he once was, rising once more? As tension pulled tighter in the air, Marcus took a deep breath, ready to confront the darkness looming before him. Would he take flight again, or would fear hold him captive, robbing not just himself but everyone he loved? The landscape of their future hung precariously in the balance, waiting for one final push. Marcus took a step forward, heart pounding in his chest. The room held its breath. Before he could speak, the angry man shouted again. "You think your heroics matter? The kids need role models, not just someone who cleans up after them." The word struck Marcus like a punch. He could feel his palms begin to sweat. But then he remembered Lena's fierce spirit, her unwavering belief in him, and he squared his shoulders. "Don't you understand?" Marcus replied, voice steady despite the tension. "This isn't about my job or my past. It's about rising above what life throws at us. It's about showing these kids that dreams can come true for anyone, no matter where you start." Lena stepped up beside him, her small hand finding his. "We're not just kids who need saving," she said fiercely. "We're the future. And everyone here has the chance to be part of something great. Just like my dad once was." The crowd began to stir. Whispers broke out as they processed Lena's words. Marcus could feel an energy buzzing in the room, a wave of support seeking to crash against the negativity that stood in front of him. But the wild-eyed man wasn't done. You think you're inspiring? You're delusional. He spat the words. You don't belong. The whole town knows it. The words hung heavy in the air, and for a second, Marcus felt his resolve waver. Self-doubt crept back in, whispering old fears. Was he worthy to stand there? Did he really have the power to inspire? Then, he caught a glimpse of the faces around him. The parents, the students, the community members' eyes wide with expectation, hearts pulled tight with belief. Hope blossomed among the tension. This wasn't just about him, and it was far from over. No, he said, voice booming now, resonating with strength. He lifted his chin and faced the man directly. You're wrong, my friend. This place is exactly where I belong. These people believe in redemption. They believe in all of us. Some in the crowd nodded. A few started clapping. It began as a slow sparks, but quickly gathered momentum, smiles spreading, hands joining in a wave of support. Let us not just remember who I was, Marcus continued, feeling the adrenaline surge through his veins. Let us celebrate what we can become. We're in this together. We can create a program where kids learn to fly, no one gets left behind. The cheers rose again, enveloping the room like thunder. The man at the entrance stumbled back, surprise etched across his face. For a moment, it seemed his bitterness might break before the gathering strength of hope. Marcus looked over at Lena, her beaming smile reflecting back all the love and pride he felt. He stepped further into the crowd, inviting their warmth and strength. Let us build together, he encouraged, letting every syllable pour forth. Let us teach our kids they can be more than what the world tells them. Will you stand with me? The applause erupted once more, this time a roaring affirmation. The angered man stood speechless, swallowed by the tide of unity washing over them. But just when it seemed victory was within their grasp, the man spoke again, his voice a threat that cut through the cheers. You think this is over? I know things you don't want to hear. Secrets that go deep. Marcus's heart dropped. What could this man possibly know? He felt Lena's grip tighten, sensing her anxiety. Before Marcus could respond, the crowd turned quiet, anticipation palpable. The weight of the moment hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. They were at a precipice, standing on the threshold of possibility, yet knowing the past had sharp edges. How would this revelation change everything? Would the secrets buried beneath the surface shatter their fragile hope? Marcus locked eyes with Lena again. Together, they would face whatever came next. But now, uncertainty coiled in his gut. What lay ahead would challenge everything they had fought for. The room sat in a heavy silence, the tension almost suffocating. Eyes darted around, casting nervous glances toward the man who had thrown the gauntlet down. Marcus could see confusion and fear etched on faces that moments ago had been filled with hope. The whisper of doubt slipped into the corners of the gathering like smoke. What secrets? Someone finally broke the quiet, voice trembling. It echoed Marcus's own question. The man stepped forward, his gaze a mix of anger and something more. Was it desperation? You really don't know? He shot back, dark amusement creeping into his voice. You think you're some kind of hero? You think you've got a clean slate here? Marcus's heart raced, adrenaline flooding his veins. He could feel Lena's fingers gripping his tighter. He had to stand firm. For her, for the community, for himself. Whatever you think you know, it doesn't matter. He shouted, a defiance boiling within him. What matters is what we choose to become from here forward. We create our future, not our past. But the man wasn't backing down. Let us see how brave you are when the truth comes out, the truth about your past. His voice trembled with urgency. Everyone here thinks they know you, but I know the real story. Marcus felt a chill wash over him. There it was, the specter of his past looming larger than he thought, the fears he tried so hard to bury. Memories clawed at his mind, whispers of mistakes and missed opportunities. What if this man revealed something he hadn't shared with anyone? What if the kids found out about the battles he had fought just to stand here? The air around him crackled, an electric mix of despair and anticipation. Would they still see the man who stood before them, or would they only see the shadows of his past? Lena squeezed his hand, her eyes wide, clearly frightened but unwavering. "They love you for who you are now, Marcus," she whispered fiercely. "Show them that." Breath caught in his throat. He knew he should reassure her, but at that moment, he was fighting his own demons. "I won't let this break us," he breathed, more to himself than anyone else. The crowd was restless now, the tension rippling through them. Marcus swept his gaze across the assembled faces, parents, kids, all the relentless dreamers, and something tightened in his chest. This was not just about him, or the angry man's threats. It was about the hope that flickered in each of them. "What is it?" Another voice piped up, agitation growing among the attendees. "What do you know?" It hung in the air, the unasked question, heavy with the weight of expectation. Marcus swallowed hard, sensing the quickening pulse of the crowd, a shared heartbeat that thrummed with uncertainty. "Whatever he wants to say," Marcus called out, determination thick in his voice, "it doesn't change what we can become. We will rise above it. We will be stronger." The angered man grimaced, but the crowd was beginning to rally again. A murmur spread as people shared hopeful glances, and Marcus felt the tide shifting back toward him. Could they really overcome this? "Tell us," someone shouted. "What do you know about Marcus?" "Fine," the man retorted, voice dripping with derision. "He was hiding. He was running away for 8 years, scared to face the truth of who he really is." The revelation pierced the air like an unseen blade. The room fell silent once more, filled with the echoes of Jason's accusation. What would happen now? Would the community understand? Would they find the truth about his past a reason to turn away? Marcus braced himself. This was just the beginning, but that dark storm cloud looming over their hope now had a name. He could feel the weight of it pressing down, yet a flame ignited within him. They had been through so much, and together they had a chance to turn this around. But it was only the beginning. What secrets did he truly hide? And would everyone stand united, or would they fracture at this new truth? He inhaled deeply, ready to face whatever came next, knowing the stakes had never been higher. The silence fractured in an instant like glass shattering on the floor. Everyone's eyes, once hopeful and trusting, now danced with a mix of fear and curiosity, dissecting Marcus with scrutiny. The weight of Jason's words hung in the air, suffocating and undeniable. Time seemed to stand still as Marcus searched for the right thing to say, fighting to keep his composure. Lena's grip tightened, her eyes pleading with him silently. He could feel the heat of her fear radiating against his skin. She had always seen him as a beacon of strength, a protector. But now, he felt like an imposter, a fraud. "Running away," he echoed, disbelief thick in his voice. "That's not the whole story. You don't understand what I went through." Jason scoffed, confidence brewing through his frustration. "We all have our stories, Marcus. But yours? Yours is full of lies. Did you think you would just leave it behind and create a new life without consequences?" The crowd shifted, faces furrowing in confusion, their loyalty wavering. He could hear whispers slinging around the room, like arrows getting sharper with every passing moment. He needed them to listen, to believe, just as Lena did. "Look," Marcus spoke, voice steadying as he tried to gather the scattered pieces of their confidence. "There are things I can't talk about yet. But I'm here now. I'm fighting for all of us." "Fighting?" Jason laughed, the sound bitter. "Hiding more like it. You think you can just step in and pretend to be a hero, while the truth waits in the shadows?" Marcus inhaled deeply, memories flooding back, fear, mistakes, an impossible weight on his heart. Each unwanted flash tugged at him, threatening to blow away his resolve. Would they really see him as that man who had been running? "You weren't there when I was struggling," he shouted, desperation blending with resolve. "You don't know what I've faced, the sacrifices I had to make, the pain I endured just to stand here today. I lost time, part of myself, and I've spent years trying to find my way back. We all deserve a second chance." The room held its breath. Some were nodding, beginning to lean back toward his words. "But Jason," he finished. "What about the lives you left behind? You think they'll all just forget, Marcus?" Marcus felt the air grow heavier. Could he face those truths? Each question unfurled like a dark blossom, but he fought against their thorns. He owed it to Lena, to the kids who believed in him. "I never forgot. I was trying to protect you all." The crowd was swelling with emotion, some faces turning soft while others still held doubt. "You can't just bury the past and expect it to stay there," Jason pressed, voice rising. "Maybe not," Marcus replied, weighing each word as if it could break their fragile resurgence. "But I'm determined to make it right. For my mistakes, for your faith in me, I'm right here now, and I want to fight alongside you." People started to whisper amongst themselves, some daring to take steps closer, eyes searching his face, trying to find the truth wrapped inside his struggles. Relief fluttered in Marcus's chest, but uncertainty still lingered, urging caution. "Please," he implored, heart pounding, meeting gaze after gaze. "Trust that I'm here for the right reasons. Trust that I can help us become something greater. We are on the brink of something amazing, but not if we're divided by my past." In the growing silence, Lena stepped forward, her voice rising above the murmur. "You don't have to unearth everything to move forward. You're not alone in this. We will stand with you." Her words swept through the room, igniting hope. Slowly, others began to nod and cheer, the strength of their community pushing aside the shadow of doubt that once existed. But just when he thought they were pulling together, Jason let out a scoff that cut through the air. "Will they really stand with you?" he shot back, a threatening undertone creeping into his voice. "What will happen when the full truth comes out? What if they find out you aren't who you claim to be?" The words hung ominously, a challenge yet unanswered. As Marcus stood poised, ready to respond, an unexpected panic surged through him, carrying the weight of the secrets he still couldn't share. Would the community really accept him? Or would they see a past he could never take back? As he faced down Jason's accusing gaze, uncertainty paralyzed him like a spotlight, pushing the question deeper. What more would come to light? And could he survive it? The air felt thick and electric around Marcus, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Jason's derisive laughter echoed, piercing through the tension-soaked room like a gunshot. Conflicting emotions stormed through Marcus, anger, fear, and an undeniable need to protect what he had just begun to rebuild. This was more than just about him. It was about everyone surrounding him. "Enough!" Marcus finally shouted, his voice ringing with authority. "This is not just about me and my past. It's about us, all of us, and our future." He took a step forward, his heart racing. "What happened back then doesn't define who I am now. You all deserve the truth, and yes, it's messy. But life is messy. We've all grappled with our demons. Today, standing here, I am trying to make things right." Lena watched Marcus, admiration shining in her eyes despite the turmoil. It was as if she could feel his struggle transforming into determination, and it propelled her to urge the crowd forward. "He is right. Look at what we've created together. This community is built on trust and second chances." Some people in the crowd began to murmur in agreement, their eyes shifting back and forth, weighing Jason's anger against Marcus's appeal. Yet Jason stood firm. "Trust? You think trust comes easily when he's spent years running from who he really is?" Marcus felt like he was drowning. Could Jason be right? Could the answers he kept locked away destroy the fragile support he had just gained? He clenched his fists, the pressure mounting, threatening to crush him from the inside. Forget the past, Jason shouted again. What about the present? What has to say? He one-teed bolt again under pressure. Can you trust someone who has already abandoned you once? The crowd was split. Some looked confused, while others sparked with an understanding that seemed to have been hidden away all along. It was a moment frozen in time. Jason's challenges hung in the air like a blade, ready to drop. Then, a voice cut through the tension like a warm breeze. None of us are perfect. We all carry our scars, each telling a different story. We've all faced challenges, right? We can't exclude someone just because they have a troubled history. It was Sarah, the quiet artist who had once struggled herself, now standing poised and fierce. The electricity in the room shifted, amplifying in response to her words. The murmur of agreement grew, lifting Marcus's spirits, igniting the flicker of hope he had been trying to cling to. It felt as if a wave was building, ready to crest and wash away their doubts. Just think about it, Sarah continued, her voice strong and steady. What matters is the journey to redemption. We all want to be accepted despite our flaws. Just look at Marcus now. He is here, he is fighting. Isn't that what matters? A ripple of emotion ran through the crowd, shifting the mood. Lena squeezed Marcus's hand, and he felt her warmth knitting a thread of unity among them. Yet, he could still feel Jason glaring, his frustrations becoming palpable. Let us not forget, Jason retorted, anger flaring in his voice. The truth will always come out. And when it does, Marcus raised his voice, cutting him off. When it does, I will face it. No more running. I'm not the boy who cowered in the shadows. I have fought my battles, and I'll continue to fight for you all. The room held its breath again. Eyes searched his, gauging sincerity, vocal emotions bubbling to the surface. Could they see him for who he really was now, or would their minds be clouded with the weight of his past? But just as hope seemed on the horizon, a loud crash echoed from the back of the auditorium. Everyone turned, tension snapping back into place. There stood the door, flung wide open, revealing a figure cloaked in shadows behind the blinding fluorescent lights. What are you all waiting for? Came a voice, dripping with authority that seemed to shake the very foundations of the room. Your leader has secrets, and I'm here to unveil them. Marcus's heart raced as the stranger stepped forward, ready to unveil a truth he had never anticipated. What secrets would this new arrival unearth? And would it drive the community further apart or draw them together in unexpected ways? Marcus took a hesitant step back, his chest tight with trepidation. The shadowy figure strode confidently into the auditorium. The lights gleamed off his polished uniform, revealing golden wings sewn onto his chest, each stitch a testimony to bravery and skill. Gasps rippled through the crowd, a wave of shock washing over them, as the man raised an eyebrow and surveyed the room. Who are you? Lena's voice trembled as she stepped forward, embodying the collective curiosity and concern of the group. My name is Marcus Wayland, he said, pulling his hood back to reveal a warm, stern face that contrasted sharply with the coldness of his entrance. And I come bearing a truth that could take everything you know and turn it upside down. The murmurs intensified, quickly escalating into chaotic whispers. Marcus felt his heart race. He was no longer the center of attention, but the overpowering presence of this newcomer was suffocating. What do you mean, this truth? He finally stammered, finding his voice, though it came out far shakier than he intended. Wayland fixed his piercing gaze on Marcus. Your past, boy, it's something I know more about than you realize. You've been running, hiding from who you were. But that journey ended the moment you decided to stand here today. Marcus blinked, confusion settling in as he fought to decipher the cryptic message behind Wayland's words. What journey? He asked, feeling a tinge of defensiveness creep into his tone. 8 years ago in this very town, your life changed. It was the day you left. The room fell silent, anticipation hanging thick in the air. You left behind not just friends, but a destiny that awaited you. You were meant for something much greater. A cascade of emotions crashed through Marcus: anger, betrayal, fear of the truth. Meant for what? Didn't he do anything? He shot back, feeling a swell of defiance. Didn't he do anything? Wayland echoed, shaking his head sadly. You, Marcus, were gifted. Maybe you couldn't see it back then, but you have the heart of a fighter. I saw you rise up once, and now you are hiding away in defeat. It's time for you to remember, to reclaim what you lost. The crowd held their breath again. No one dared to move, entranced by the drama unfolding before them. But why now? Sarah interjected, her voice rising in urgency. What is the purpose of all this? Wayland's eyes softened slightly. Because I'm here to fight for the truth. 8 years ago, I made a promise to you. I promised to stand by your side when the time was right. Today is that day. Come forward, and together we'll reveal your true potential. Marcus stood frozen, trapped between the weight of expectations and the urge to flee. The fear clawed at him, but beneath it all lay a whisper of longing. Could there really be something greater waiting for him? A second later, Jason spoke up, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Sounds like a fairy tale to me. You really think he can just step back into the spotlight? Marcus felt the surge of Jason's doubt, threatening to drown out the glimmer of hope that Wayland's words had ignited. Maybe you should hear him out, Lena insisted, stepping closer to Marcus, grounding him. What if it is true? But with every moment that passed, a sense of urgency and fear of exposure intensified within Marcus. What secrets lay hidden in his past that could reshape his present, possibly shatter everything he thought he had rebuilt? As eyes turned back to him, an open stage beckoned. Did he dare step into the light? Wayland extended a hand toward Marcus, as if inviting him to leap into the unknown. A realization struck, heavy and real. Sometimes the hardest leaps led to the most profound transformations. As he looked around the hall, anticipation thrumming in the air, a deeper question formed in his mind. Would he choose to confront his past, risking everything? And just as Marcus took a breath to respond, the lights flickered, plunging the room into shadows, leaving everyone in suspense. The darkness enveloped the auditorium, a tense silence filling the air as confusion swept through the crowd. Marcus blinked against the sudden dimness, his heart racing. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows, and for a moment, he felt completely alone. Was this the universe's way of telling him to retreat? But then, a spotlight ignited from the corner of the room, illuminating Wayland standing resolutely, as if defying the darkness itself. There was strength in the glow around him, a sign that he wasn't afraid. Marcus felt Lena's hand brush against his arm, grounding him once more. He could feel her warmth, her belief in him radiating like a beacon amid uncertainty. Marcus, Wayland's voice broke through the shadows, steady and commanding. You can't shy away from this. Not anymore. I'm here to help you remember who you are. The murmurs began again, but this time they echoed Marcus's internal struggle. Was it truly right to confront the shadows of his past? Would facing this truth unlock something powerful or tear him apart? Everyone has doubts, Wayland continued, his eyes searching Marcus's. Even the bravest warriors question their journey. But bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. It's making the choice to embrace who you are. Those words struck Marcus deep. He remembered how he had felt all those years ago, fearful yet excited, standing at the precipice of something big. And then he remembered the pain that had come afterward, the way he had turned his back on it all. The regret was a ghost lingering in the back of his mind, haunting him every day. I'm not, he began, But the thought was swallowed by the feeling boiling beneath the surface. I'm not a fighter. I'm a failure, Marcus blurted out, the edge of self-doubt lacing his voice. Wayland stepped forward, undeterred. You are whatever you choose to be, Marcus. Success is not just about victories. It's about resilience. It's about how many times you get back up after falling down. Look around you. These people remember you. They want to see you fight for yourself. As the light spread, Marcus took in the faces of the crowd, some familiar, some he had hoped to forget. There was anger in Jason's eyes, but also something softer, a flicker of concern. Lena's face was steady, eyes wide and encouraging. And Sarah, her expression was resolute, hinting at an understanding of what he had endured. What if they were right? What if he had been wrong to bury everything deep inside? I can't just flip a switch, he argued weakly, vulnerability creeping in as tears threatened at the corners of his eyes. What if I fail again? Then you get back up again, Wayland said, fierce determination flickering like the lights overhead. That's what you've always done. The glory lies not in achieving perfection, but in showing up. The spotlight dimmed again, uncertainty creeping back in as the voices in his head clashed against Wayland's steadfast belief. Was it true? Did he truly have the heart of a fighter? A gasp from the crowd brought his focus back. He turned to see a little girl, no older than 7, peering from behind her mother. She was biting her lip, eyes lit with curiosity. You can do it, Mr. Marcus, she yelled, her voice clear and bright. You just have to try. The innocence in her words tugged at his heart. Could he really do it? Marcus drew in a breath, the weight of choice hanging in the air. The tension intertwined with a wave of potential and a flicker of hope. He looked back at Wayland, who waited with a steady gaze, and felt the urge to leap into the unknown, to fight not just for himself, but for everyone who believed in him. But as he took a step forward, the lights flickered violently one last time before plunging the room into darkness once more. What would Marcus choose, stay in the safety of shadows, or step into the uncertain light? The darkness swallowed him whole, a thick blanket that muffled sound and swallowed light. For a heartbeat, Marcus stood still, confusion wrapping around him like vines. He felt the world fade away, leaving him trapped inside his mind, wrestling with fears and doubts that screamed louder than the echoing silence. But then, something shifted, a gentle pressure at his back. Lena's presence. He could feel it, grounding him like a sturdy anchor in a stormy sea. You're not alone, her whispered encouragement reached him through the void. Suddenly, the flickering lights resumed, illuminating the auditorium in a soft glow. As Marcus blinked against the brightness, he saw the crowd. Faces full of hope, fear, and somewhere deep down, belief. He realized now it wasn't just his fight, it was theirs too. They were all waiting for him. Waiting to believe in something more than fear. Remember who you are, Wayland's voice boomed, cutting through the haze. You've been a fighter in ways you don't even realize. He wanted to scoff at that idea. How could he be a fighter? He had spent years running from his past, avoiding any confrontation with the monsters he had created. But the sincerity in Wayland's gaze cut deeper than any harsh truth. It was that glimmer of hope he dared not feel. Maybe, just maybe, he could rise again. The crowd held its breath, eyes locked on him, urging him toward bravery. A surge of warmth spread through him, and he thought of that little girl, the innocent spark that ignited something deeper within him. Perhaps he could stop running. Perhaps he could reclaim who he was. Marcus took a tentative step forward, heart pounding like a drum. Each step felt monumental, echoing with encouragement and memories, the laughter, the dreams, the lost opportunities. With every movement, he felt a stirring of courage rising like a tide. His thoughts became clearer, the fog lifting as he opened his mouth to speak. Maybe I've been wrong, he began, his voice surprisingly steady. Maybe I have been a fighter all along. Just not in the way you might think. He glanced at Lena, who smiled softly, hope dancing in her eyes. Both Wayland and the crowd were listening intently, caught in the spell of the moment. I've fought to survive, to keep my dreams hidden away. But now I see hiding isn't strength, it's a prison. The murmurs in the audience grew louder, a wave of recognition and familiarity washing over him. He continued, I've let fear dictate my life, but for the first time, I'm ready to break free. I choose to step into the light. A cheer erupted from the crowd. Joy flickered around him, akin to fireflies lighting up the night. Marcus felt the tingling sensation of possibility. He was more than a failure. He could become a fighter, a leader, a role model. Yet, as he took another step, the ground beneath him shifted. A cold gust rushed through the auditorium, and suddenly, the spotlight flickered again, throwing everything into chaos. Where is the light? Someone shouted, rising panic threading through the audience. In that frantic moment, darkness crept back, threatening to swallow him whole. He could feel the pulse of fear radiating through the crowd. Would his resolve hold against it? Could he lead them while battling his insecurities? The lights flickered once more, revealing the crowd again, their faces a mesh of hope and worry. Marcus inhaled deeply, grounding himself. He felt strong, but would that be enough? He glanced toward Wayland, who nodded encouragingly, and Lena, who had tears of pride in her eyes. Trust me. Trust yourselves, Marcus shouted, feeling the energy shifting around him. The words felt like a lifeline thrown into the darkness. But just then, a loud crash echoed through the auditorium, shaking the ground beneath them. What had he just unleashed? Would the shadows come for him again? The ensuing chaos echoed like thunder, hearts racing in fear, as a figure stumbled through the darkness. Muffled murmurs turned to gasps, but as the lights buzzed back to life, illuminating the room, everyone's attention fell squarely on Marcus. Jason, the man who had challenged him, appeared more disheveled than before. A mixture of rage and panic danced across his face. What have you done? He spat, the weight of his accusation hanging heavily in the humid air. You think you can just walk in here and fool everyone? Marcus felt the tension tighten around him, just as dark shadows had threatened to swallow him earlier. Doubt crept in, gnawing at his newfound determination, but his heart beat steadily, grounding him in his choice to fight. I'm not here to fool anyone, Marcus shouted, pushing back the gnawing fear. I'm here to be real. I want this community to thrive. I want to fight for our dreams, for my daughter's future. His words spilled out, stronger with every syllable, as the fire within him reignited. We deserve this chance. As he looked around, he saw expressions of encouragement flicker in some eyes, while others still strained against the overwhelming tide of doubt. The noise from the crowd rose, but he stayed focused. Jason, I know you have your doubts. But let us not turn on each other when we could uplift. This isn't just about me or my past, it's about all of us. The crowd stirred again, uncertainty morphing into curiosity. They leaned in, eager for change, pressing against Jason for him to reconsider. What do you really have against Marcus? Someone called from the back, a voice laced with reflection. Have you seen what he can do? The undercurrent of uncertainty shook Jason, anger flaring, but he was outnumbered. The energy in the room crackled like a force of nature, rising with every heart beating in unison, ready to embrace hope. That's rich, Jason scoffed, defiance clashing with the swirling support. You call yourself a hero? Heroes don't run away. He stepped away from the crowd, gesturing wildly. Heroes don't hide from their truths. Maybe, Lena shouted back, her small frame edging closer to her father, her voice strong. But he is here now. He is fighting for us, just like you should. Marcus felt a wave of pride wash over him, as he watched his daughter plead from the edge of the crowd. The air felt charged between them, raw with something powerful, something that bridged the gaps between fear and belief. He whispered a prayer of gratitude for her bravery. Seeing Lena's fierce spirit ignited something deeper in him. He locked eyes with Wayland, who stood steadfast, a pillar propping up the winds of uncertainty. "Marcus, remember," Wayland urged quietly. "You have become what you feared. What has hidden ISNT the hero? It's the belief that you don't belong." His words finished ringing in Marcus's ears like a battle cry. "You don't understand what I've faced." Marcus surged forward, eyes fiery with determination. "Yes, I ran. Yes, I fell. But we all stumble. I'm here to tell you it's never too late to rise again." The room began to vibrate with anticipatory energy, an unshakable pulse focused on unity. The realization landed, like a tidal wave. Transformation lay within reach when people stood together. "Let us build something new," he urged, voice steady. "Don't let this moment crumble us. We are a community. We can lift each other and fly into the future we've only dared to imagine." Cheers erupted, rising in crescendo. Jason flinched, the walls of judgment closing in, but even he could feel the shift, the undeniable current of hope drowning out his skepticism. Feeling invincible yet vulnerable, Marcus held Lena tightly, cherishing every bit of warmth from her embrace. "This is for you, sweetheart. I've fought my past for far too long. It's time we celebrate our future. Together, we can make the program shine," Lena exclaimed, radiating fierce pride. "Together, we can fly." The sentiment spread like wildfire. Community members began to look at each other with renewed vigor, voices breaking through the shadows that had long held them down. People rallied around Marcus and Lena, their eyes glimmering with belief. Suddenly Jason, caught in the circle of newfound courage, took a deep breath and walked closer, almost hesitantly. "Maybe I've been too harsh," he began, uncertainty lingering in the air. "But what if we did give this a chance? What if we really tried?" The crowd turned toward him, expressions softening as glimmers of hope ignited within them. "What if we succeed?" someone called out excitedly. Soon others began to murmur their support, amplifying the swell of belief that permeated the room. "And if we fail, let us promise to stand back together," Marcus concluded, a drive coursing through him with each heartbeat. The united spirit in the room surged with undeniable momentum, each person a driving force ripe for change. With an exhilarating rush, Marcus felt his burdens lift, the shadows dissolving beneath a shared light. "Together, we can do anything." And just like that, hope no longer lived in silence. It became a living, breathing force, uniting everyone in one powerful moment of transformation. "Let us build our dreams," Marcus said, a smile breaking across his face as warmth flooded his heart. The auditorium echoed with a unified cheer, firm and resounding. In that instant, Marcus discovered the depths of love and community around him, and they took flight together into a vibrant future waiting to be revealed. This was not just the end of hiding. It was the start of new horizons, the beginning of adventure, resilience, and most importantly, belonging. Now is the time to embrace your dreams. Don't miss this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss more exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below, because we want to hear from you. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second. Let us lift each other together.